Hey everybody, welcome back to another live stream. It's Friday. So today, if you guys can hear me, give me a thumbs up. I might actually have to, always noticed with this thing, sometimes I have to reset the thing and I don't know why, but it's like a sound syncing issue where like the audio is like super off otherwise. But let me know if there's any sound problems. It's one of the things that I really can't double check before I go live, especially since I'm kind of like doing this solo here. But welcome back to another stream. Today we will be finishing off the setup that we did last week, where we created a farmhouse, or like a stylized farmhouse. So this is the image here that we will be working on. This was the reference image that I grabbed, that I created in Midjourney, and we are through the process of creating some of the stuff. This is where we're at right now. Nice to see you, Ben. Thanks for lurking. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. But this is where we're at right now with our current image that we have. We do have a little bit of shading left to do on it. There's quite a bit of lighting. We really haven't touched lighting whatsoever, and then we will go from there. There might be a little bit of modeling as well. I kind of want to add like a tiny fence or something like that in front of the house here that we don't currently already have. So without a further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into that. For the sake of this stream, I think, and also for my sanity, I'm going to turn off the visibility for the in this viewport of all this grass and stuff, so make it so I can just rotate a little bit easier as I'm working on some stuff. I'm gonna move. We're just gonna work over here real quick. I do want to make some of these like cool fence post things that they have. It's like this kind of like twirly fence post. I feel like that would be really nice to have in front of the house, so I want to go ahead and model some of that. So I'm actually going to add a cube, but we're going to delete one of the faces. Actually, probably just do a plane, because that way I don't have to worry about normals or anything like that. But if I go to top view, we can scale that down, and basically what we want to do is we just want to create a nice curve that we can have our fence on. We're going to add the 3D aspect of it later. I do want to check. Let's see. Yeah, let's go ahead and do it like this. Just want nice stylized design. This is like one of those things that we might be able to customize a little bit more so later as well. So let's see. It's good for me there. I only want to select kind of this section here, and let's see. Let's go ahead and add that halfway through, and then just kind of continue the post over it this direction. Almost wanting like some kind of loop or something like that, but I think if we do that, then have it continue downwards. I'm gonna add a subdivisions modifier on this later as well, just to smooth it out. Just gonna grab that, maybe just rotate that around a little bit further. Just kind of trying to create some like more organic, fantasy looking fence post here. And from here, let's go ahead. I'm gonna take this and just slim it up a little bit. And just kind of have that rotate up a little bit more, and then kind of go off, and then this bit here. Just get that to go down towards the bottom here. Do you want to add like another edge loop here, just so that I can continue the fence post on this side? Okay, great. Now, with that being said, I'm going to add in a solidify just to make it a little bit thicker. Something like that. And then we will use a subdivide surface after that. Kind of smooth everything out even more. And there you go. That's going to create ourselves like a nice fence post. I'm going to rotate that by 90 degrees here on the x-axis. We're going to want to scale that down, of course. Now let's line that up with the front of our mansion. Probably good like that. I'm going to duplicate that, but let's see. I want all of these vertices down here to be deleted. Nice. Okay. Perfect. And then I'm going to duplicate that again. I'm going to use our 3D cursor here just to rotate it around that. That makes it so that way I don't have to line that up again. And then we'll duplicate again. Ooh. It's pretty good. I think that's good for us right now. I'm going to add in a nice bush here as well. Maybe some flowers on the inside of this garden over here. The other thing we could do is actually, now that we do have a little bit more of like a differentiation between the house and like the outside of the yard, let's adjust our weights for this section here. No, not multiply, I want subtract. That's what I want. Perfect. And actually now let's go back into object mode. If we turn this back on, we'll be able to see that now we have less bushes inside of there. And that's perfect. We're going to turn that off now. We don't need to see that anymore. But on the inside here, let's go ahead and just add a little bit of life. So we can do that by adding in some flowers. Maybe a nice plant as well. Thinking that might work. And another flower, like right here, probably. Perfect. Okay. Nice. These flowers might be a bit big. Let's go ahead and scale that down. We don't want to move that on the 3D cursor. Probably, oops, not on the 3D cursor. We want to do medium points. It's generally how I like to scale my objects. Great. I'm going to add some detail into kind of like this pole that we have here. What are we trying to replicate? Kind of like a bricky kind of design. We can do that a lot with shading, actually. So I'm going to pull up some materials that we can find. Some like rock materials, some like sheetrockish, like a stone wall. I like this because it feels more natural, more like it would be built into that environment. Let's see, let's open up, I can do this way. I'm gonna do vertical split, do a shader editor over here. Actually, I almost want this to be the 3D viewport, just so you guys can see it a little bit easier, and then this will be the shader editor. Let's do that, and then we'll hit new, and then we're gonna have rock column be our name. And find our textures. Can I drag and drop all these? I don't think so. Might have to do one at a time. Our diffuse. Hello? Did I freeze it by trying to do all of them at the same time? I know I could drop an image in. What's going on here? Fine. Goodness gracious. Do displacement. We'll see roughness and diffuse. Oh, that's diffuse. I need normal then. Cool. I don't know why it won't let me drop images in. Is it because I tried to do a group of them and then now it's like that broke? I could probably restart Blender to fix that. Bugs! Lots of bugs. Okay, normal map. We'll drop that in there and let's just see what this looks like as we're working on it. Just turn on texture view here. See what we got going on. Thought I hit all the clouds. Did I not? No, I didn't. I'm gonna turn those off just because they'll slow down our viewport render quite a bit. And I'm also gonna turn off Botanic since we're only trying to do some shading right now on this particular part of the image. Also, I'm using my GPU. Yes, cool. Let's do this and we'll do Smart UV Unwrap. And that'll give us a nicer setup there. But I can add in some texture coordinates and mapping now. And I'm going to plug this into all of our vectors that we're using. And what I like to do for the scaling, rather than typing the same number in all over again, if you add a value here, you can plug that directly into our scale. And I believe that should pop up over here now. There's your displacement, but also your value. Do I not have it? I might have to add it as a output option, but it doesn't really matter right now. So for our scaling, we're just gonna scale that up. And that's probably the correct size for us. For purposes of what we want, eventually anyways, I'm going to add in another light. I'm gonna add in an area light. And this area light, I don't know if the trees will be obscuring it or not, but I do want that there. I like the way the light kind of like, it's a very beautiful like feeling. So I do want to have roughly the same color as that. We'll just increase our brightness a little bit to give some shape to the side of the house. Because it can get quite dark with all the trees and everything, and I want it to have a little bit more shape to the house. So if we do that, yeah, that's perfect. I might make this a little bit smaller. Perfect. I'm actually going to duplicate that and so look at my lighting reference again. Very much on the front of the house. Lovely. Honestly, I might also fix some of these clouds that we got going on here. Just scale everything up and just cover more of the sky. Might have to create some shaders for everything else as well. We can get to that momentarily. Yeah, we'll have to create some shaders for these clouds. I think the shader we have right now, yeah, this is the one. Delete that. I'm going to use a scatter, a volume scatter. Plug that into our volume here. Oh, is this the problem I was having last week? I feel like I was having this issue last week. Increase our density here. Just trying to get it to look right. The biggest freaking problem that I have with volumes is that it takes forever to render, so you really don't know what you're freaking doing until like later, and it's like really annoying. Okay, I do got some dense parts. Nothing we can't fix. And then we have a dense spot over here that I'm not a huge fan of. I think it's just like intersecting clouds. Okay, great. The only other thing is now if we add in a cube, let's see, let's bring that down. And I guess towards the camera as well. It's all good. Let's go ahead and this won't be under lighting. It's currently sorted under lighting, but it'll probably be more of an effects type of thing. So let's grab this cube here. I'm gonna rename it to fog, and then we can move it into our effects tab. It just allows us to keep things a little bit more organized. I'm going to add in a volume scatter node, and then we'll plug that directly into our volume. And if we, decrease this to like 0.1 and increase our intricacy to like a higher value. Let's see, we might have to decrease this even more. It really kind of depends, because with our trees, that's where we're going to get most of our lighting. What I'm looking for is kind of like these streaks that are going to be coming through the clouds. It might be a little thick. It's like a little too smoggy, I probably should have halved it, but I guess we'll see what 0.007 gives us. Wish the preview would give you like a better answer of what it's really doing. Before you have to wait, over here on the side. Pretty cool. I think we're gonna go 0.00. Let's try 4. Half basically what we have. Hey Ovith, welcome. Just kind of testing out the intricacy settings that we'll need to have and the density of the fog. While we're waiting for that, I can actually go to our visibility settings and then change our viewport display to wire. Cool. I think that works for us for right now. I'm going to not worry about it. We can actually turn that off because, again, not trying to have a crazy render time as we're just working on shading stuff. So we can actually turn off most of this and we can just go check out our house here. We have to shade the roofs for sure right now. I haven't done any of that yet. What else are we going to want to do to this house? I think the windows for sure need to have something to them to make them feel a little bit more magical or artistic. I'm just gonna do a general roof texture probably for everything. It's got like this brick pattern. We're gonna find ourselves a brick effect, I guess. Roofing. Ooh, that's actually pretty nice. Only problem is it's directional, and directional stuff might be a little bit more annoying to work with. But I do like this. Let's go with that. It's got some nice like green like algae or moss. Let's go ahead and open that up. We'll unzip this. Am I able to actually drag and drop textures in right now, or is it going to be a bum? Let's actually close all that. Diffuse. Yeah, it worked. It was so random. So I guess you can break the shader editor if you try to drag and drop a bunch of images in all at the same time. It seems like that would be a feature that they should definitely add. I know I'm on an older version like 3.4, but I do feel like that should be a feature that they should definitely add if it's not already in the 3.6 or 4.0 series. You can add in some normal maps as well, and see what that gives us here. Do we get lucky? I doubt it. like smart UV unwrapping, and then let's see. Let's go to our UV editor. Where's our UV editor? There it is. Cool. Yeah, this needs to be rotated by 90 degrees. You can scale that up actually. Let's look at the diffuse on that. That's about right. If I can get... Let's try it this way. If I say cube projection... Oh no. Follow active quads. I just kind of wanted to make everything really square, and it didn't do that for me. I could do the, I'll just do smart UV unwrap because that was the closest I could have gotten. Just not quite right. Because if I scale that up, that's the wrong direction. I'll rotate that by 90 degrees. I guess we could go through and like clean up all these sides here. If we scale everything on the x-axis by 0, that kind of does what we needed to do. I'm kind of bummed that there's not an easier way that's just default inside of Blender to do that. But we could just scale everything in. Now, I know this isn't proper, but just kind of need everything to line up a little bit. And that'll give us that roof. Let's see what it looks like from that distance. Yeah, you can't really tell. I feel like if it was closer to the camera, it'd be something that I would want to mess around a little bit more with. But for the sake of this, it's like, it doesn't matter. I guess another thing that we possibly could have done, so this is our roof texture. Let's go ahead and apply it to this side over here. One thing we're going to notice is that we need to UV unwrap this side as well. So let's go ahead and do that. And again, rotate 90 degrees. Scale that guy up. Could have potentially created like a we could have potentially created a procedural workflow for this, but honestly sometimes it's just not. It's more hassle than it's worth. Just scale over in. I know might be chopping some stuff, but again, away from camera. These are some things that's like when you're working in CG that you come to realize is not as important as like, hey, you know, I don't have time to fiddle with every single bit of it. Let's do that. It's wild. What's going on here? Another method we could have done, yeah, let's try this out real quick because it's not actually going to hurt us, but if we add in our texture mapping nodes here, we could actually plug in our vectors to all of our images, and we can swap between our UV as well as our object, or generate it. If we use generated, it is actually going to look at the active quads and try to create like a method in which that's working. And I'm not sure that's going to work for us in this particular instance. Sometimes I have luck with object as well as with our generated. But in this particular instance, I think we're just going to have to do the manual route of creating UVs. Hey, how's it going? Full counter. How are you doing? Welcome to the stream. We're just doing the annoying process of UV unwrapping. The thing that I feel like nobody actually likes to do, but maybe there are those crazy people out there. I'm not one of those people. Instead, I'm out here just doing it the cheapest and easiest method in which I can, which is honestly just grabbing a texture, scaling it over, rotating it, and hoping for the best here. Probably gonna have to scale that down. It's about the right size. let's go ahead and we'll move on to this last bit of the roof here. You were researching for work? What were you researching? Specifically. Hopefully it was something CG related or visual effects related and not something completely different. I'm going to have to probably... is this all one object? I'm actually going to enable viewport visibility over here. If I select everything now, let's go ahead and just Smart UV unwrap that. Oh, hello. I think I accidentally did something wrong there. Smart UV unwrap that as well. That'll give us a better option. Trying to build a sci-fi lab. Well, that's cool. In Blender or what's software? Oh, for a scene. Okay. I think this was something I was talking about a little bit earlier. Depends on if it's like for a game or for a movie. One of the helpful things is like as long as you already know what your camera angle is going to be, then you can get away with a lot of stuff. It sounds bad to say that, but that's just how it works. Actually, I like that. It also gives it more like an organic feel for what we're going for here. Let's go ahead. Let's see what how those shaders look right now, and then I'll have to jump over to the tower setup that I'm doing. Blender's a very powerful engine. I started using Blender back on like 1.2, I think it was, when they only had the Blender internal render engine, and that was a real nightmare of a render engine. And then I remember I was so scared of cycles back then because I didn't know how nodes worked. I didn't know how any of that worked. And it really took me, once I jumped into using Nuke, and I think my brain really finally understood like nodes at that point. It was like clicked for everything because then I could start doing shading, editing, and all that stuff. I mean, I understand that this stuff is pretty simple for shading, but once you start getting into procedural nodes and stuff like that. The thing that is hard for me to still get my brain wrapped around is geometry nodes. I have tried, but I think it's one of those things that I'm really just gonna have to jump in and actually learn how to do, because right now it's like I am dragging my feet like nobody's business on that. So your weak point is making floors. Like what type of floors? Like indoor floors? I suppose like adding detail in general, like if you're just trying to add detail to stuff sometimes can be a little difficult. Especially if you're just trying to make stuff up to add the detail. Because it's like, oh, geez, is there going to be like a sock on the ground or like a, random shoes or toys? What kind of toys would you have? And like, I find that can be somewhat challenging as well. All right, I'm going to move over to this tower here, and then let's go ahead and start breaking that down. This is going to be an annoyance. I think the easiest way to do this is going to be selecting... Oh no. I'm going to need to select this entire row all the way up. Then we can mark it as a seam. Oh, rocky floors mixed with... yes, yes. Also trying to make it look organic when you're trying to do rocks. I think that's also a... sometimes a bit of a challenge. I'm going to mark that as a seam so that way I can unwrap this entire cylinder going up. Actually, if I do that right now, I can do... If I do Smart UV unwrap, would it follow the seam? I don't think so. So I already marked the seam. I just have to unwrap it. I mean, it breaks it down there, but I think it's still keeping the scaling of everything, and I really wish that it would square it out. Follow active quads. Do you got active quads here? No. Again, UV unwrapping is my bane of my existence. I can do cylinder projection though. That'll at least get me... I don't know what that is, but that looks like a turkey laying on like a pan. Does that not? Okay, let's add a new material here, and this is going to be tower wall. I think the last time I had to do cylinders on a couple streams ago, the way that I did it was via just like projecting from view. Because again, I don't care. I am just doing this for a single image. Why do I add a bunch of cylinders into my renders? That's a really good question that I still don't know the answer to. Let's do tower roof. I'm going to take this tower wall here. We can assign that in, and then I'm going to do select invert. This is it, yeah, Control I, yeah. I just do tower roof, assign that right now. That way I don't have to worry about that. Go over here and okay, stay on 3D viewport, but I want to swap this over to shader editor. And for our roof, let's find ourselves a new material. Actually, we probably could use the same material that we have. I'm fine with this material. Just displacement, normals, and our roughness. One of these days I'll create a procedural texture for roof tiles. And then I'll add that into the normals, and we're going to have the amazing pleasure of trying to unwrap this. I do not have a Discord server. I probably should get a Discord server set up at some point. I mostly have just been posting on like other people's Discord servers when I'm going live, but I will have to do that at some point. I was trying to reach 500 subscribers before I did a Discord, because I feel like it's a little premature of me to be like, oh yeah, join my Discord server. But maybe I'm wrong with that. I'm new to this. So hey, hit the subscribe button and then you'll know when I go live. If YouTube actually tells people that I go live. I try to live stream once a week. So if you're interested in that kind of a thing, then I would love you guys to come hang out. So let's get out of camera view in here. I need to see if this is actually what I want. I have to scale this up to let's say 5. Totally not what I want. Generated doesn't do it either. Damn, I love it when I have to go to the UV editor. It's quite amazing. After seeing, oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. I try to do live streams once a week. Next week I'm not going to be live streaming because I'll be out of town, but I like to try to do them every Friday night if I can, and we create like a new image each week. This is actually a continuation of last week's live stream, and then I post the time lapse on probably Monday. I'll post the time lapse with like the final render. We're creating this in Blender, and then we'll be compositing it inside of Nuke afterwards using cryptomats and some crazy stuff like that. Probably going to have to change this to, let's see, let's just unwrap it. And we'll swap this to a UV. And if we scale that up, honestly, it looks kind of cool. I didn't mean for it to look that cool. But I'll take it. Let's go for the tower wall now. I'm going to find a new material that we can use for the going up the side of the wall here. What do we have for our reference? I guess not really much. Let's see, bricks. Some kind of brick pattern. Ooh, cracked concrete. Might try that out. Let's go ahead and hit the download button there. Then let's unzip that, and then I can drop in some of that beautiful cracked concrete. This can be a very fun question. How did you get plants? Oh, I use a plugin called Botanic. It's not that expensive, and it works great. And it has like 100 plants in it. If you go to Blender Marketplace, you can get the add-on there. Super nice plugin. This is what it looks like over here. I'll show you. Like, well, let's add a new plant in, for instance. Let's say I wanted to add in. Let's turn on all my plants because I actually have them hidden right now. But let's see. We're in object mode. Great. Let's say I wanted to add like a flower bush right here. I can go into the side here in Botanic. I can spawn a new asset, and they have all these different assets. These are shrubs. They've got coniferous trees. They've got deciduous trees. Ivy, even all sorts of stuff. So if I wanted to go in here and add in like a shrub of some kind, you can add in like, let's say this guy right here. Actually, just spawn that asset in and scale that to my liking. And it's a really nice, pretty high quality 3D model that you can actually animate and use in 3D. So it's quite nice. I use it for all sorts of stuff. But yeah, but right now I'm actually going to disable all my Botanic trees, and it's in its own collection up here. So that way I can disable stuff pretty easily and not have my whole computer going pretty slow. See, let's add a diffuse in. I'm going to add a displacement in, our normals and our roughness. And then we'll probably have to do the same thing that we did on the other one. We'll have to UV unwrap it plus, actually I think it's already UV unwrapped for us because the whole thing is set up. So it'll be great. So now I'll just have to plug in our normals directly into here, and then we'll just add in a normal map as well. I'm wondering, because it is a different, we might not actually need to use the scaling. See, that's a great thing about scaling it inside of your nodes, rather, because if it's the same object, you might want to have a different scaling than a different material. So I actually quite like that there. I'm going to use this same material of this plaster for some other stuff. I believe, let's use it on this front piece here. I just think this brown is not quite working for me. And it's because it's using this soil base kind of material. I'm going to use, say, tower, wall. And let's see, we are currently in object mode, but if I change that to edit mode, let's use Smart UV project. And yeah, there we go. I'm just going to take everything and then we can just scale it up. That'll be good. And then I'm going to add in some materials for specifically the roof parts over here. So we'll get to that momentarily. The soil just like it did that automatically from when I added in the ivy. So I don't think that was quite working for me. Use tower wall for this as well, I suppose. We'll just scale that up and just kind of match everything else. This is going to work for a nice base for everything, and then just having the other materials on top of everything will make it a little bit nicer. If I go in now, I can actually just I need to kind of like select everything going up the side here. Probably just box select everything. We can add in a new material. We'll add in, tower roof. I'll go ahead and assign that there. And then I'll just scale that even up more. I think I need to scale it up. I think that works for me. Cool. Go ahead and hit the save button there, and we'll have our windows on the front here, and we'll add some more detail into that as we're moving along. I'm going to create a new material for this fence post down here on the front, and then we can go ahead and get ourselves some textures for that as well. Go to wood, and let's see, I don't quite want something that dark. I almost want it to be lighter, like plywoodish. That'll work for me. So everything else is maybe not. Everything else is just so dark in the whole scene, and it'll muddle together. So I want something that'll stand out a little bit. Not quite. I'll stand out a little too much. Like this Japanese sycamore. That's pretty nice. Let's go ahead and save that, and I'll unzip it. Then we can add it into our materials here. I know I could probably actually import it because it comes with a blender material. I noticed that the last few times I've done this, I've just not actually opened those up. So I don't know how... I'm wondering if it would be just easier to append those materials in. Or what. But yeah, let's go ahead and zoom in on this. Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, because these are all separate, that's right. I'm gonna join all of these together, and then they'll just be using the same material. Probably going to have to UV unwrap them as well, because you know how it is. Actually, before I do that, I realize I also have these modifiers still on them, so let's go ahead and do that. And now we do that. Smart UV unwrap. And what do we have? That Japanese diffusion here. I mean, honestly, that kind of works for me, so let's keep it. Go ahead and hit the save button there. Had our windows on the front here, and I like the design of the fence, and I might try to do a similar design on the outer frames of the windows as we're working on that. So I'm just going to zoom in on this. Let's see, go ahead and select that and add a new material into this. I'll call this window. Window into the soul. I'm gonna just select all the faces here of our windows. Select the bottom here as well. This window's a little more difficult. Great. There's all of our windows. And if we take our window material here, we'll just hit the assign button to it. I say we just take the roughness down. Let's see what we got going on here. Take the roughness down, keep the specularity up. Let's turn on metallic, basically. And I think that should be good. Might want a little bit less metallic. And let's give it a bit of a shade. I know we can also add like glass BSDF to it if we wanted to. Let's see, metallic. That's good. And then also let's add in a noise texture here. You can see what it's doing if we just press Control Shift and then click on it. And then we're gonna add in a color ramp. Let's do that. That's right. This version of Blender. Okay, I realized this yesterday. My home computer does not lag out on this weird ass color ramp problem that I'm having. I'm wondering if it's this version of Blender. Might be. I'll have to check when I get home which version of Blender that is. Okay, that's pretty good right there. If I don't think it needs to be any more contrasty, but let's take this top part right here and we're just gonna darken it. Something like that should be fine. And if I take this noise texture now and plug it into our roughness, and then we go view this material, that should work fine for us. We'll create like a bit of a smudgy effect, and you can see it a little bit on here of what's going on. And once we add in all of our trees, it will certainly help our whole effect. So, with that being said, just might want to increase it a little bit more. And let's change this scaling to like 10. There you go. You can see a lot more smudges on there now. I think that's quite nice. I'm actually going to make the entire window a little bit more smudgy as a whole. And we can take our actual color of our window and bring that down. And then we can adjust this ever so slightly to be a little bit darker. So that way it's a little bit more reflective on the actual window, but it's like a darker window. Okay, great. Perfect. So there we go. And I'm going to add in some trim and stuff like that onto the front as well. I am noticing that you are missing a lot of this this post here now because it blends too nicely with the bottom part of this. Let's see what we can do about that. I do know like the actual base color of the house on the reference image is green. We might want to try to incorporate something like that. I also like the drooping grass blades that are in the reference photo that we don't quite have. So we can maybe add that in as well. And then, yeah, of course, we're going to have to add in like all of the squiggly line stuff, which we can do pretty easily. So let's open up our 3D viewport over here. And I'm going to just add our 3D cursor all the way over here on the ground if I can. Doesn't really matter. Just add in the plane. I'm going to focus on it, and let's see what we can do here. By the way, this is a good question. When is a good time of the year to start putting up Christmas lights? What is the right answer? Going to kind of bring that up. Let's see. I don't know that that is working for me. I might want it to turn up a little bit more. December 1st. Is it bad that I think that it's okay to celebrate Christmas all year round? It's not my fault that my job makes me work on Christmas movies all year round. So I started working on Christmas movies in July of 2020, and it never ended. And I've been working on Christmas movies since then, because it turns out every year there's like 100 new Christmas movies. Let's see. But it made me think the other day, because I mean, there's people, of course, putting Christmas lights all the way up already. Went to Lowe's the other day, and you know they're playing Christmas music. They were playing Christmas music in Lowe's about a month ago, before Halloween. They were playing Christmas music. Now I think that's a little early. I think it's a little early to start the Christmas music then. This kind of looks like a butt. I can't unsee it now. Alright, that works for me. So what I'm going to do with this is the same thing we did earlier. Add a bit of a solidify to it. Just going to thicken this up. Give it a thick boy attitude. Cool. And then, of course, we'll just do solidify surface. Easiest method. Look, man, it's not my house. They're the ones that decided to have the butt on their window. If it were me, I wouldn't have done it, personally. But you know what? That's the thing about these CG worlds, man. They've got a life of their own. Wasn't my fault. It's like, what was it? The most common trope of CG artists, like, I'm on all these like CG forums and stuff like that. I swear, it's like, dude, some of these people are the horniest people I've ever met in my entire... Well, I've never met them. I don't know that I want to either. They're like, oh yeah, just learning how to do 3D modeling. It's like, oh, okay. Alright, now we're going to scale that up. Kind of just, it doesn't matter that it goes out, it's just that it's adding the design. That's all I'm trying to do here. We can actually now just take this, and if we find that wood, the wood fence material, I'm gonna have to actually apply our whole thing here. But hello. That was weird. Am I selecting something else? There we go. Okay. I'm going to just say Smart UV Unwrap. Smart UV unwrap, but scale yourself to be bigger. Oh, I see. Okay. As far as like smoothing out animation, there are tricks. I think the easiest method whenever working with like animation and trying to smooth stuff out that I've noticed is that if you can get all the motions of like the big movements down to exactly what you want them to be, then just try to view it as like poses, like big poses, and then slowly iterate. I've noticed that like with my stuff anyways, I used to have problems with very robotic stuff as well, and the best way for me to fix that was really just iterations. It all just comes down to iterations. How many times are you going over the shot? You can't rush animation. I mean, hell, you look at Pixar and how much time they give them to animate their stuff is like crazy. They animate everything in like 2 weeks. They'll do work on a single shot. So, you know, don't think that you can do anything faster than that. And once you realize that, it's like, oh, okay, great. Well, I'm not trying to be Pixar level quality here, but I do want my stuff to look good. And that's where you could spend a little bit more time working on just iterations of it. Try to get other people to view it. Also, the thing that I like to do is I like to work on a shot, and if I have the time for it, I will put it away, and then you can do this. Whatever your sequence is, like this is set to like 100 for, and I realize you can't see that. Let me pull that up here. This is set to 200 for the entire sequence. And if I were trying to see what my render looked like and you were having playback issues, because maybe you're not playing it back at full speed, if you go up to view up here, you can actually view render and viewport render animation. And if it's completely grayscale, which you could just disable everything up here on this button up at the top, you could do viewport render animation, and whatever your render settings are, so right now I'm rendering as a PNG to this temp folder, it will actually render out in a whole sequence of what this looks like to that thing. And so I'm going to have a sequence of PNGs. And so I can even change this to like a MPEG video or something like that. That's really nice, because then you can basically see all your stuff later and play it back really easily. Because that was a problem I was having for a very long time, was like just not being able to see what I was working on. And if you can't see what you're working on, and you're watching it like, let's say like 11 frames per second or something like that, yeah, you're not going to be able to even give yourself notes on what you think your animation should look like. That's why rendering it out in the simplest form possible is the best. And anybody that's using Maya, you could do the same thing. It's called play bashing. So viewport render animation saved my life. I learned that on a freelance job that I was doing, and it was a mind-blowing moment where I was like, holy crap, so I can see what I'm doing. Because it was like everything was playing back so slow, and even sometimes it's like playing back at 20 frames per second instead of 24 frames per second, and you're like, yeah, well, that's close enough. No, it's not. No, it's not. See, I'm gonna. I almost want to have like a. Let's see. Let's rotate this by like 45 degrees. And can I add an array in? Cool. What do I want? I don't think so. I don't think the array is going to do the trick for me. Let's go into here, we're going to duplicate this, and then I'm going to move it down on the y-axis by -2. Cool. And I'm going to grab it on the x-axis by 3, 2. Sure. So if I duplicate this again and move it down on the y-axis, -2, and then grab on the x-axis, -2, perfect. Now actually, technically speaking, if I duplicate this and move it on the x-axis by 2, and then grab it on the y-axis by -2, oh, I bet you there was an easier way of doing that I didn't think of, but that that worked perfect. Okay, great. Now I got this cool design. Let's see. Let's add a solidify in here. We're just going to thicken this boy up. Actually, probably can even add a bevel at it right now. Perfect. Scale that down. And basically, I just want to move it. Let's see. Shift S, selection to cursor. Just move that all the way over here. Just scale that down. Probably about that size. If I grab this here, the other thing we could do before we do any of the solidify or anything like that is I can actually use a shrink wrap. Let's see, where's the shrink wrap at? Just click on that. It lines everything up, but I want to do that before it solidifies it or anything. So now my solidify should come out negatively here. Perfect. And now I've got it completely on the wall. Wow. Now if I add that, I can add a new material in. And for our purposes, I want something reddish. I like that as like a trim color because it really stands out on the green. Now if I duplicate that and move that over here, I'm not going to have to shrink wrap it again. I mean, I could if I wanted to, but it's already lined up with the wall. So I'll just have to center it. Unless this guy at this house decided he didn't want it centered. I mean, honestly, it's his design. You know, I'm just along for the ride, man. Move that down. Cool. I think that's a pretty nice. I like the house now. It doesn't look as basic anymore. Not that there's anything wrong with being basic, but this guy isn't that lives at this house. That's all I'm saying. And sometimes you gotta stay true to your design. Let's see, we're gonna add in some glass. What is the glass shader that we have? Oh, it's just called window. It's not called glass. Can I not click on window? There we go. This thing is broken. I think we found another bug in Blender. Is that possible? I don't know, but we did. Hit the save button there, guys. That's pretty cool. Honestly, I'm pretty happy with it. What are your guys' thoughts? Any thoughts? Any last wishes? You know, I have. Oh, it's such a bummer I don't have it on this computer. I don't think I have it on this computer. I have some really cool new smoke plums I probably could have dropped in. Damn it. Well, didn't work out this time, folks. I'm going to rotate that on 90 degrees. Just drop that into this window over here as well. I love this. I don't even have to line this up perfectly because it's supposed to be like random. Oh, is there another window? What the frick? No, that is this window. Okay, that works great for me. I think it all kind of depends. We're going to be able to do quite a bit in compositing, though, with this. So let's just select all of these windows that we have here. I'm going to drop that into my layout now. And let's look at it with trees. I might try rendering this out just to see where we're at. Because I'm more of a VFX artist, like compositor, I like to fix things inside of the composite rather than, you know, trying to get everything perfect in the Blender render. Also, you can't see the grass that I have in here because I have that disabled. But that being said, let's see. I think we're ready to do some compositing. I'm pretty happy. This is feeling a little empty over here. The only thing I'm feeling a little trepidatious about. So let's add some bushes in. Let's fill it up. It's over here-ish. I almost want to add some bushes in. See, just some scaling differences. Should be good. And if we do some variations in the brightness values, let's do that. That way this isn't all the same. We can actually do hue per branch changing as well. And that might make everything a little bit more colorful. I initially was going to do this like kind of like, ooh, whoops. Yeah, shouldn't have done that. That was the problem. Whoops. These are all animated. I do wish you could kind of Control Z that. I've done that so many times in my life. Where I hit the play button and the keyframes are different. Let's see. Bring that down over there as well. Okay, great. I'm actually going to select this entire hierarchy of botanic. Let's do that real quick. Select objects. All these keyframes. Don't need them. Thank you. I was going to have this nice little camera pushing. But, I don't know, man. I don't feel like rendering this out for an entire weekend. Let's go to the beginning. And, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to probably hit the render button here. We'll do a temp render. I'm going to set up some of these render preset settings. I realize you guys can't see, but I'll show you over here. I'm going to change this to Open EXR Multilayer. That'll allow us to get all of our stuff that we're looking for. I'm going to set this to 25% of the 1920 by 1920 render that we're going to be doing. And then if I go to our passes now, I'm going to enable objects and materials. This will give us all the crypto mats we'll possibly need for when we're working on our stuff. And Open EXR Multilayer will be perfectly fine for us for everything. Now we can just hit the render button. And it should take like maybe 10 minutes. I don't know. We'll see. See what it looks like. Throw that over here. What I'm going to do is we'll do a 25% render and then we'll composite to this render. And then while we're compositing, I'll render out the 100% one. No promises that it'll be done tonight because these things can take forever to render. But while this is going, let's actually get Nuke open. Be compositing in Nuke X, actually, specifically. Phenomenal compositing software. So it's my favorite. I used to do everything in After Effects, and then with the first live streams I ever did, you'll even see me using Photoshop quite a bit. No, we're not restoring autosave. I think we'll be fine. And this looks like it'll take about 10 more minutes for this render to go. That's what it looks like right now. A little blurry because, again, rendering it out at like, what is this, like 4 something, 417-ish. But, so you said you're working on a sci-fi thing. Is that for like work or a personal project? And is it like a animation or a video game or still images, or what is the project for exactly? It's always exciting to hear other people and what they're working on. Sometimes us as CG artists, we can get really stuck in like a dark room and you're just by yourself. So it's always fun doing these live streams, meeting new people. Am I getting some kind of weird clipping thing that's going on up here? Might have to double check that. Otherwise, I could fix that inside of Nuke for an animation. Very cool. I really, animation is something I want to do a little bit more of. Because right now, I do a lot of just visual effects work for kind of like VFX for film. And it is fun, but you kind of get stuck in the mentality of always trying to do something that's realistic. This is my kind of like fun thing that I get to do if I'm doing like a live stream, because it's more stylized. This doesn't look real, but it's more artistic, and I enjoy making stuff like this because you can be a little more creative with your process. But that's awesome for an animation. Is it for, I guess, your work? Are you posting like this on YouTube, or how is that? You got kidnapped. What? What is that for real? I'm sorry. On September, my content stopped. They wanted me to. That's wild. You like kidnapped. That's crazy. I don't know that I've actually ever met anyone that's been kidnapped. Well, that's cool. You'll have to. I mean, I don't know. You can follow me on social media. Send me a link of your finished video once it's done. I'd love to see it. And then eventually I'll set up a Discord. That way people can share stuff in their Discord and whatnot. But that's crazy though that you were kidnapped. That's wild. Well, I'm glad you're over it. I'm glad you're okay. Glad you're safe. Slowly getting back into doing some artistic stuff like animation and whatnot. But yeah, man. About 4 minutes left on this render. Honestly, the lighting is not bad. I might adjust some things. At least in composite, we'll be able to adjust quite a bit. We can lighten up some certain aspects of the image, especially since it's pretty 2D. Even if you are working in kind of like a 3D animation of a shot, there is quite a bit of color grading, quote-unquote, stuff you can do to really get your image to look like what you want. And that's one of the things that I find the most fun about compositing, is that you can really change any image, whether it's a live action image or a CG image, and make it look like what you want. It's like Photoshop, but for video. And it's definitely awesome. This may not render the full image in the time that it will be done compositing. So do I have a TikTok? Yes, I do. I have TikTok. I never post on it, but I do have TikTok. I try to post everything that I post on my Instagram to my TikTok when I do like Instagram Reels and whatnot, and I do visual effects breakdowns. But my TikTok is the same handle as my Instagram. So if you go look in the description below, you'll see my handle there. It's iConnorThomas is the Instagram or the TikTok handle. So you can follow me on there. TikTok's one of those things that I'm just not quite used to because I don't use it. It's not like my main social media platform that I personally use. So the notification system on it drives me crazy because I don't ever know how to clear my notifications. It's like I've got like a billion notifications of like, hey, you got this new follower or somebody viewed your profile. I'm like, honestly, I don't care. Can I just like refresh it or like something where I don't see these notifications? Because I guess my OCD kicks in where I've got like this number at the bottom of the app and I don't know what to do about it. Oh, okay. I'll check out your render. You got better. Okay. Yeah. I mean, hey, it's all practice. That's the thing. Is the more you practice, the better you'll get. And it's all about iteration. I was talking about that earlier with animation. It's the same thing with really anything in life. The more you do it, the more you iterate on it, the better you'll get. And I certainly think that's true, at least with CG renders. You love your notifications? Yeah, well, I don't know. My OCD kicks in and I just want to get rid of them. I've got like the little red number at the bottom there and it's like, hey, you got like 14. And I'm like, 14 of what? 14 of what? I've clicked on everything at this point. It's like I'm clicking on the note. Like I go through and I'll click on every single one. It's like, okay, so-and-so followed you. Click on their profile. Great. Did it clear it? No, I didn't clear the number. So, all right, that's the finished render. I'll go ahead and save that. And we'll save that. We'll create a new folder here called output. Call this temp and then version 1, just in case we need to do another version. And for the color management, I just follow the scene, which is I have a linear working space setup. Okay, great. That's all good. I'm going to hit the full size on that. Hit the save button. And then let's go ahead and render that image. Put that over here. So now if I go into our new comp, let's see. Find the latest live stream. I can load that in here. Since we used Cryptomats, I'm gonna have to shuffle the channels, which we can do pretty easily by adding in a shuffle node. And I'll swap this over to combined. There we go. There's our render. Probably going to firstly let's add in a dot. Because I don't want any problems with scaling of the image. If we take this and then we can reformat it, let's see, let's scale it up. Scale it up by 4, so that way it's 1920 by 1920 down here. That'll give us the results that we want. Great. Probably do that. I think the saturation is a bit much, honestly. I don't know. It's gonna be hard. I'm gonna want a kind of bottom to our image. If we go in and add in a roto, let's see, let's add a grade node in. This computer's running slow because it's trying to render at the same time. It's okay, we will make do. What does it say for the finish time on that? 2 hours. 2 hours, guys. Add in 300. probably cutting out on my live stream, aren't I? It just said I got disconnected from OBS. Cool. All right. Let's go ahead and just do that. And if I bring that down, oops, I have to set this to RGBA. Kind of add a bit of a vignette into our image. This is wild. Okay. Here's the cool thing about cryptomats though. So if I go in and add in a cryptomat, let's view that real quick. Probably gonna have to fix this paint issue here. It's okay. Our overall image that we have, let's see. Let's add in a lens distortion. And we're gonna redistort our image here. And that's going to kind of like stretch the sides of the image past the camera and make it feel a little more 3D. Great. Let's also color correct this to be a little more contrasty. And then the sky specifically is what we're going to want. I'm wondering actually if we select everything. Which I can kind of select everything by just like doing this. Need a map of everything in the entire world except for the sky. Because now we have an alpha of just the sky. It's great. Let's go ahead and use that. I want to add a saturation node in here that's only being affected by this cryptomat. And then I could actually probably add a grade node as well, because then I can adjust the what the color of the clouds look like. But this will allow us to just basically only affect the sky. Because if I go into here, I can just say invert. Let's add a grade node in. I just don't want it quite as yellow. It just feels very yellow to me, which might be fine. I'm just going to say invert again. And now we could probably get a little more bluey. I'm really freezing a lot here because I'm trying to do this during the render. Frozen again. Okay, quite nice. I like that. Now, over top of everything, just to make it feel a little more dreamy, I can add in a tiny, tiny amount of glow. Not that much. But we can adjust it by our tolerance level here. We'll want this to be in focus, of course. But all the edges of the light, I kind of wanted to have that like chromatic aberration that it has over the rest of the image. And you can kind of see that what it's doing there. increase the tolerance a little bit more. Perfect. And then our size, we'll probably want to decrease that a little bit. And that's just to make the entire sky just feel a little more inflamed. And then we can decrease the brightness a little bit as well, so that way it doesn't feel too chunky. It's hard to really see this. I'm gonna dial this in once the full render is done. It's kind of hard to see it right now to see what it's gonna be doing. It's taking a moment to load that image. Okay, I like that. That's going to give it like a nice kind of fall, October, November feel to the house. I really like that. Let's go ahead and we're going to do one more thing. Let's fix that paint here. Do that by just adding in a roto paint, which I'm going to view directly. We can use a clone stamp tool or something. Not quite sure what's caused this problem, and it honestly might not even be in the full 3D render. Did that not work? What's going on here? Oh, okay, I see what's going on. Okay, great. Just go ahead and paint that. Really don't like that. I'm probably going to touch this up when I'm not on stream. That way I can actually see what I'm doing while I'm working on it. But for right now, I think that like this will you guys can see what's going on here. This is, I think, what we're going to finish with here. Again, I'm going to post the full final image on the live stream on Monday, and then also on my Instagram account. So make sure to follow me on Instagram to be able to see that. And then, of course, hit the subscribe button with the bell notification. If you guys can, hit that like button on this video. It helps the video out. It helps traction for more people to see it on the search engines. But thanks so much for coming and hanging out. This was it's a fun stream. This right here is kind of like what the image is going to look like. And then, of course, I'm rendering out the full res version, which also does actually have that blocky issue in this as well. But I'm going to paint that out using the method that I did inside of Nuke. Normally I probably could go through and figure out which clouds are giving it that problem and then fix it that way. But in this particular instance, since it's just a single image, it's not that big of a deal. But thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out. And we're going to be doing another live stream, probably not next week, because I'm going to be out of town. I might be able, no, because Thursday I think I'm out of town as well. So I guess it'll be the following week, which is Thanksgiving that week, but on Black Friday in the evening, I'll do the live stream then. If you guys want to hang out and see me on Friday that week, then that would be awesome. If not, we do this every Friday otherwise, and I'll see you guys later. I guess eventually I'll set up a Discord that will have recommendations if you guys want to see like a specific image on a live stream or something like that. So, but yeah, hit that subscribe button and I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much. All right. Peace out, guys.